And I sat on Martin to have a parole hearing in 2022. I sat as his wife, but me and Martin was never legally married. And after hearing everybody speak on his behalf today about the changes that he made in his life, and he would be, a good candidate for parole and everything, that's not what I experienced from him. Last year, I became a victim of Martin Tahabin. Martin is a very abusive person, both mentally, physically, emotionally. I experienced that firsthand from visitations, how he would get really rude and evil and ugly. And before they put cameras in there, he would hit me.
Oh, this cannot be good for this man. This man who was sentenced to 330 years in prison over 25 years ago. If you can imagine a chance at freedom, and your ex-wife who showed up in 2022 in support actually will take the time to show up at your parole hearing and tell the board, this man this man is a bad apple. We have never seen that before. And talk about hell hath no fairy like a woman scorned. We're about to watch this set of parole hearings. But before we do, we're going to take my favorite thing, which is a flashback to the past, to that hearing where she showed up on his behalf in 2022. And it is a Mr. Judge Marabella classic. So with that, let's jump in.
Martin Tejada, DOC number 399339, first class offender, parole eligibility date 8/1/2021, good time date 6/27/2189, full term date 10/7/2326, 330-year sentence. Aggravated escape, aggravated battery, criminal conspiracy, first degree murder 2 counts, attempted first degree murder 4 counts, solicit minors, distribution of cocaine 2 counts, distribution to persons under age 18 2 counts. Does that sound correct, Mr. Tejada?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you answer Mr. Marabella, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Tejada. My name is Tony Marabella. I'll be the person who starts our interview process with you. How old are you, sir?
48,
How long have you been in prison on these charges?
about 25 and a half years,
How old were you when you came to prison on these charges?
23 years old.
Let's talk about the 23-year-old Martin Tejada. Much
Okay.
education did you have back then?
7th grade education.
Did you work at all?
No, sir.
What did you do? How'd you make a living?
Sold drugs for a living.
So tell me about your gang activity. How did you get involved in a gang?
Typical kid growing up in the projects. I seen a lot of gang activity, a lot of drug dealing going on, and I got involved in it, and things that was taught to me, I taught to others, and I now realize it was wrong.
So what sort of things were taught to you, and what did you teach to others?
How to sell drugs to make money. Anything that was illegal, anything that we could do to get by to survive. That's what we thought it was, survival.
So tell me about the crimes that you committed that you find yourself in jail for. Let's talk first about the drug distribution while you were in prison in the juvenile that you got to sell some drugs for. Tell me about that.
Well, he was part of a member of my gang, and he laid there, and I got a call one day, and they was looking for some $60 worth of rocks, and so I gave him the rocks to lay there to sell to the police officer, and he got arrested for it. And when the other charges came about, they gave him a deal to tell them that I was the one that gave it to him, which he was right. He was right. I gave it to him to sell to the officers.
Tell me about the shooting of Raven Richard and Lisa Jackson.
One night we was standing outside, and some guys had ran down and they shot at me, and we knew who they was. So instead of doing the right thing, like call the police and just report it, I took matters into my own hand, and I had other people to go to looking for those guys, and they went there looking for those guys. Instead of, just using common sense, they just went to open fire on the crowd, and those two innocent girls got hit. And because of my actions, they almost lost their lives.
So you didn't shoot them?
No, sir. I wasn't there. I sent them, but they wouldn't have been there if I wouldn't have sent them. So I'm just
You
as
sent them
guilty.
to do whatever they did, right?
Correct. It was my fault. They wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for me.
And tell me about the battery and the escape with the prison out of the prison.
I was locked up in the parish, and they later had they hadn't set a bond on me. They put a hold on it, and so it was my idea to escape. And because of me making that decision to escape, I had two other guys that I talked to about escaping. And in the process of the escape, while I was going back and forth looking for the key, one of the guys, he kicked the officer and hit the officer with a pipe. But again, they wouldn't have been in that situation if I would have never came up with the idea to do something like that. So if it falls strictly on me, it was my decision. I laid there and I made a choice to escape. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I did it anyway.
So tell me who you are today. Why have you changed, if any?
Well, I've been through a lot. Like what I thought was family, from what I was taught out there was, it was not family. And I had to learn that the hard way. I made a decision that when I got off into doing what I was doing, I was gonna give it my all. And I did everything that a minister did. I deserved to leave the streets. And by me being incarcerated, I learned, like, I've been incarcerated 25 and a half years. Not one letter from a gang member, not $1, not one visit from one of them in 25 and a half years. They didn't care about me. They only cared about what I could do for them. And I had to learn that the hard way. Everything that I love, I lost. Everything I gained, I lost. And it was because of my own actions, And the man that I am today is that I made a decision a few years ago that I was just tired of my life the way it was. And like everybody that I cared about was dying.
When did you make that decision, and why did you make that decision?
It was about 3 years ago. I got locked up for a cell phone charge. And I laid there and I was just like my mother, she's most dear to my heart. And she kind of been fighting like cancer for a very long time. And so I knew I don't really have much time with her left. And she's like been the only one, really been my rock, been there for me the whole time I've been in prison, And this was not the way she raised me. This was not what she wanted from me. But I laid there and so I just said the only way that I was even gonna have a chance to make it home to her, and with little family I do have left, I was gonna have to do the right thing. I was gonna have to make a lot of changes because me just being who I was stubborn. I was set in my ways, and I wanted things my way. And like the way when I was raised up, it was like, the tough one. You be the tough one, and you can have everything. But what I didn't see that it was seasonal, and it only lasts for a certain amount of time, and then it all just get taken away from you. And I put myself in that position. And so me looking back at my life, and I'm like, man, my life is all messed up. I'm in prison. Everybody that care about me is out there. They want me to do the right thing, and I'm steady up here messing up. I don't have a chance to go home doing this stuff. I keep.
What happened on the first 23 years you were in prison?
I was up to my old ways. I was steady doing. I come to prison. I had 330 years. It was like it's no end. It's just like.
Tell me about your disciplinary record in those first 23 years.
Well, the typical thing. I went for a while, without write-ups, and then I got in some trouble. Mostly cell phones. I had to have a cell phone
I show, my records reflect you had 4 write-ups in the last 2 or 3 years. What did you have before that?
That's what
You
I'm
got
talking
write-ups,
Cell phone.
contraband.
about. Yeah, cell phone. And
What
so
was the last write-up for? 2020. What was that for?
it was for well, I had my wife had put a picture of me up on Facebook, and it was a picture that I had took with a cell phone at another prison, and they thought that it was from here. But then when they did the investigation, they realized that it wasn't from here, that it was an old picture. But because the Rule 30 stipulates that, you know, we can't have our family member posting stuff on there, you know, I got the write-off.
So what did you lose the 243 days of good time for?
The 240.
You lost 240 days of good time. What was that for?
I really don't remember. Did they take that for the charges, Warden?
You had three contraband write-ups in 2019.
Correct.
3 different.
Okay, well, that would have been what they took it for, like for the write-ups. That would
All
like
3 of those were cell phones?
2 of them were cell phones, and the other one was, the last one was for what I just explained to you about the
So you had 4 write-ups. You had 3 write-ups. You had 3 write-ups, you had 4 write-ups altogether, 3 in 2019, and I think they were all for contraband. 3 different contraband write-ups.
the cell phones, and the last one was for the they thought it was a cell phone. But then because when they did the investigation, come back that it wasn't a cell phone, that's when they said, well, your family members can't post it up there. So the
In
last
February of 2019, February 13th of 2019, you had a write-up for contraband. February 2015, February 15th, you had a write-up for contraband. June 13th of 2019, you had a write-up for contraband. And then June of 2020, you had the write-up for the 30X, which I assume is the picture you're talking about.
correct.
So you had 3 separate write-ups for contraband. Those were all cell phones.
Cell phones that I remember. That's all of them. Yeah. Cell phones.
So what programs have you taken?
Thanking for a change, living in balance, a parenting one, raise your cage, idea for better communication. I think it's like 7 of them altogether. Think one.
Well, what did you get out of any of them?
Well, from like thinking for a change, it taught me to think before I react. That violence never solve problems; it only create problems. And living in balance, it taught me to stay away from people and places that might try to influence me to drink. 100 hours basically taught me how to start my own business and everything about how to go about obtaining a proper business license and the importance of managing money.
Talk to me a little bit about your drinking. Did you use drugs back then?
Not knowing it. Like when we was kids and stuff.
Whoa. My question is, did you use drugs back then?
No, sir. But that's what I'm trying to explain. Like when we was kids, they used to make us put it up under our tongue, hold the drugs in our mouth. So I didn't know that it was going in your system because I've never smoked drugs. I've only like drunk liquor.
What about drinking?
Lots of liquor. Lots of it.
So how often did you put drugs under your tongue to hold it?
Almost daily.
For how long?
All during the day, as long as we was out on the corner selling it.
For how long? I mean, how many years?
For my younger years, probably from like 11 to probably like about 15, 16.
You didn't realize those drugs were affecting you?
No, sir. I just thought it was normal.
So what substance abuse programs have you taken? How are you gonna stay sober if you get out? Say you were a heavy drinker back then. How are you gonna stay sober if you get out today?
Well, like living in balance, it taught me like to stay away from people and places that might try to influence me to drink. And if feeling the urge or whatever to seek help, like at AA and NA meetings.
Tell me about AA and NA. What do you know about it?
Well, it's supposed to be a program that where you can talk to them and they
What do you
can
mean
give.
supposed to be? Is it a program like that? What is your knowledge, personal knowledge of AA?
Well, my knowledge is that it's supposed to be for like Alcoholic Anonymous and stuff like that, people that got a drinking problem. And they can give you,
That's about all you know about it? You don't know a lot else about it? You haven't participated in it?
except for the classes that I took with the Living in Balance. Everything that Living in Balance taught me about it.
Gordon, what can you tell us about Mr. Tejada?
Not a whole lot more than what's been stated. I just want to commend him on, the last couple of years, no disciplinary issues, no problems. That he did start taking some classes. He took Living in Balance phase 1 and phase 2, and he's working on himself. That's about all I have to add.
And he's taken those classes in the last couple of years.
Yes,
Very
sir.
little before that, is that right?
Yes, sir. All started in 2021. He took Thinking for a Change, Anger Management, and Living in Balance phase 1 and phase 2.
Mr. Tejada, I appreciate you talking with me. I've got a real problem with your history. You are classified as a first offender, but you've been convicted of 12 felonies: aggravated escape, aggravated battery, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, 4 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of distribution of cocaine involving minors. You're serving 330 years in prison. It looks like you're starting to recognize an issue, and you're appearing to address it. I commend you for that. That's all the question.
All right, we'll hear from Miss Shirley Williams. Miss Shirley, if you'd like to make a statement. You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Mute button.
Okay, I see. We hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. My son is not the same man that he was when he went there. He was young, but he done gave his life to God. And I'm so proud of him. He became what I was doing and hoping and praying for him to be a better person. I don't thank God my son went to prison, but I surely thank God he spared his life, because he could have been dead out there on the streets. I thank God for changing him. And I just praise him. And I would like to be with my son one more time before I leave this world. Because he did do all those things, but throughout the years, he's learned, and he calls me every day. I just pray God have mercy and give me that chance. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much for your comment. Thank you. Hear from Mr. Donald Richard.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, I prosecuted this case. I've been around an awful long time. I have to tell you that I'm very impressed with Mr. Harder's narration of the facts. They're a little sketchy, though, because this was a criminal organization that was terrorizing our community. Stop signs in neighborhoods had the markings all over to delineate the territory of the gang he led. It's a little different now with social media, but in those days, there were markings at the major football stadium in this community with his gang markings. He was running a criminal enterprise which generated lots of funds. Don't know where it went, lots of money. And he ruined a lot of young people's lives. I'm impressed with his honesty in admitting all the things he did. And it was quite something, because this was the first case in the state which involved a criminal street gang prosecution. And this went all the way to the Louisiana Supreme Court. That sentence, which may sound excessive, but is not, based on the facts that the judge heard. He actually reduced it 50 years. It might have been 365, and he dropped it. I thought that 315, but that's been 25 years, and I don't remember much about stuff that happened yesterday, because as I said, I've been an assistant DA since 1980 and tried 400 jury trials. I think that this is a step, but it's a baby step, and we're not ready. I'm not ready to see this man on the streets. Our community is in the throes of chaos, and to turn someone who says he is reformed and rehabilitated, I don't think that's proven. I can be very, what's the word, cynical, because of my experience that everybody in jail has God, but there's some magical vacuums that operate on the doors of the jail, and as soon as you go through those doors, it vacuums out all of that. I'm not saying he's being dishonest or disingenuous. I'm just saying I've watched too long people who say, I've got the Spirit, I've got the Lord, and they walk out the door and they're back at their own thing. But the more important thing is, at some point in time, there has to be it's not just rehabilitation, but it's prevention of crime. And I think that the fact that the judge imposed this severe a sentence on this defendant, that was affirmed by the Third Circuit Court of Appeals and the Louisiana Supreme Court, speaks to the severity and the damage he did to our community. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, Martin, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yeah, I was young when I committed the crimes, and I've changed. I'm not the same man. I made a lot of mistakes. I understand that. I apologize for the pain, hurt, and pain that I caused my victims. I apologize directly and indirectly for the trouble I caused my community. I want to apologize to my mother for the shame I brought to our family. I know that's not how she raised me. I want to apologize to my kids for them having to grow up without a father, and my grandkids growing up without a grandfather. I'm a first offender. I've never had a second chance. I don't need a third or fourth chance to understand what I did was wrong. I apologize for everything. I'm a different man now. My mindset is different. I'm 48 years old. I'm just asking this board, please just give me a chance. I can do the right thing. I will do the right thing. I can be better. I will be better. I can change a lot of kids' lives. They can see my scars. They don't have to go through this. I didn't just get a slap on the wrist. I've done 25 and a half. And I can lay there, and my wounds can be wounds other people can see, that they don't have to go through that. That's just not worth it. The drugs, the gang, it's not worth it. I thank y'all for listening.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your comment. All right, Mr. Lancaster.
Thank you. Ms. Williams reached out to me a little over a year ago and inquired whether or not I could represent Martin at his parole hearing. And reading his charges and looking at his history, I had some real concerns, and then I met him. And I think what you heard today, with his honesty in admitting all of the things that he did, is true, and true who he is. That change may have come rather soon, but I think it's a real change. Martin was 23 years old. He got involved in all of this when he was 11, selling drugs himself. And so all of that behavior, as much as it terrorized the Opelousas community, was normalized for him. He was the oldest of all of his siblings. His mother worked 2 full-time, low-paying jobs to support the family as a single mother. And then Martin sort of was, that paternal role in the family was thrust upon him. He made really bad choices as a very young kid to get involved in all of this, and his admission to doing all of it, the committee heard today. I submitted to the board prior to the hearing two packets. This last one I submitted, there was a comic book enclosed that Martin wrote and illustrated that really tells the story of two kids going down two very different paths. One, a path of involvement in drugs and that result that comes from that. The other path, one who studied, a kid who studied, went to school and did the right things. He's currently married to Karen Angus. She and others in the community have been really working to engage in the community, do good work in the community, involve Martin as they can. Martin, as much harm that he did the Opelousas community when he was 23, does have a lot of power and influence to do good in that community now, because people can change. People can give a second a chance and demonstrate that they've really changed. A lot of his courses are recent. I understood from my conversations with Martin that where he is placed at Hunt, a lot of those courses became available to him fairly recently. That was my understanding from my conversation with him. His letter to the committee, I think, indicates his early use of drugs, his commitment for change. So at this time, Martin does come before you asking for a second chance and ability to prove himself under supervision. I know with my conversations with Martin as well, he's well aware that this process is often a marathon and it's not a sprint. And sometimes a little more time is needed. I think today Martin has demonstrated that he has turned that corner. I hope that the committee sees that in him and at least recognizes that in him today. On his behalf, I do pray that the committee grant him early release on parole under whatever conditions you deem appropriate for his success. Thank you.
Thank you. Is panel prepared to vote? Mr. Farabella?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Tejada, I do appreciate your talking with me. I think you were honest with me today, and I appreciate that. I have concerns, as I indicated to you earlier. You've been in prison for a good while. You've been in prison for 26 years. And it looks like it's taken you 23 years or 24 years, maybe, to get to where you are now. I do commend you for the programs that you've taken. I have read the materials that Mr. Lancaster provided to us. I think that's a service to your community. I think those things are very, very important. I think you're on the right track. But you know, sometimes our past just catches up with us, and we have to outlive it. I've done very well over the last few years, but there's a lot of times that still remain. You're a young man. There is absolute law enforcement opposition. The two female victims of the shooting have no opposition to your release, but the other victims do. I think you're on the right track. I think you need some more programs. I think you need to work a little harder. But I want to encourage you to do that. My vote today is it's just not time yet, Mr. Tejada. Keep up the good work, and perhaps next time it might be. My vote today is to deny.
Ms. Renatson?
Mr. Tejada, I want to thank you for your honesty today. I do believe you were honest with us, admitted to, you know, your crime. I appreciate the information that was provided by Mr. Lancaster, and I do agree with him that you've demonstrated today that you have turned the corner. For me, I realized that you are a young man coming to prison and you were looking at 30 years. I'm disappointed it took you 23 years to figure out you needed to change some things. So for me, and your admission that it's only been about 3 years ago you decided you had to change, I think it's insufficient time. I think you need to show a more sustained period of time with no write-ups. And you need some more programs. And then, of course, we've heard from the opposition that's been expressed here today. So my vote today is going to be to deny your parole, but with strong encouragement that you stay the course, take advantage of program opportunities, don't get any write-ups, and write back when you're eligible. Good luck.
Wow.
Sir, it was great hearing you today, hearing your life story and where you are today. And I concur with all that. So I don't believe you're gonna spend the rest of your life there. You're still a young man. But today, my vote is to deny as well for the reasons I already stated on the record. And I encourage you to reapply when you're eligible and just continue the good work.
Ms. Jackson?
Mr. Tejada, I try to come into hearings with an open mind. I never know what the person is going to be like. You see people on paper, and you can form certain impressions about them. And so today your interview kind of changed the impression that I had. I think you are headed in the right direction, but I'd like to see a little bit more progress on this path. And you talk about you're almost 50, then you're only 48. When I was 48, I still had 20 more years left to serve as a judge. So there's a lot of life after 48. So please don't see that as being old. But my vote today is not yet. So encourage you to continue with programming, have a longer period without any write-up. So my vote today is not, but it's a denial of hope, okay? I want you to have hope and I want you to work hard, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Vote to deny. I'm also going to vote to deny your parole for the same reasons as stated. Keep working hard and, get there. But today you have 5 votes to deny. Your parole's been denied. Good luck to you.
Thank y'all for y'all time. I would take what y'all say in consideration. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you very
And
much.
here we go. And now we're going to go and watch his
Thank you.
2025 parole hearing. I mean, hey, look on the bright side for him. I think he only has like another 200 and something years left on his hearing. So, I mean, for his good time date. But okay, I mean, that's crazy. 330 years. A few things I'll get off my chest before we jump into the 2025 hearing. But if you want to just jump ahead, I'm leaving timestamps now for you because I saw that was a major request in the comments section. You see, we're still a small channel. We still don't get that many comments. So I do see your comments. I see the feedback, the critical feedback. And sometimes if I see enough of the comments, right, I'm like, okay, I hear y'all. That makes sense. I'll leave timestamps. I wasn't doing it. Or you want to see more return of hearings? I'm going to bring them to you. And there are so many that I can bring to you. Look at this. What happens is Annan will say, hey, Mandoo, go cover this hearing. This one's interesting because he had the wife show up and then show up against him. This one, it kind of sticks out. Never seen it before. Then I'll go into the spreadsheet. Sir Richard's back, right? And he has all these hearings. So this is just today's date, right? So this is Martin's hearing. But any hearing that has the orange highlight, that means that also is a return of 2022, 2023 return of, and we can just go down the list. There are so many of them, parole to revocation. It's this spreadsheet which really allows us to do things that no other channel can do on YouTube. And I see a lot of you that will say, this is amazing. You really put in an effort. You're not like those other AI slop channels, copy paste channels. And I appreciate that. Whenever you write that, it means a lot to me because this isn't any other channel. This is different than any other channel. I think what we're doing is more than just, interesting. I think it's actually contributing to understanding what rehabilitation is for the first time. This is one thing you want to look at a piece of paper, a document, statistics, and there's another to see it play out time and time again, where everything they're all almost the same. They have so many commonalities in these hearings. Now, for anyone who's been wondering, who's Sir Richard? I keep hearing about Sir Richard. What's his deal? Well, for the very first time, we did a live interview with Sir Richard. It was a voice reveal, not a face reveal, a voice reveal. It was an hour and a half long interview. If you want to check it out, check out the live stream playlist. Really cool if you want to get to know who Sir Richard, the man, the legend is. I recommend you check that out. Now, a few things off my chest before we jump into 2025 hearing. And of course, you can skip ahead with the timestamps, but 330 years, you can, it's very clear in Louisiana, like, and in other states that, look, no one was killed. He didn't pull the trigger. He took responsibility and all those things. And I get he was a bad guy and he did all these things with the string. I never took drugs. I just put something in my tongue. Come on, man. But and the attorney shows up out of retirement to say, I've been doing this since longer than Maribella's been a drug court judge, and you need to keep him locked up. In so many words, he wasn't, he wasn't mean. It wasn't like it wasn't irrational, and I do appreciate him showing up, But it's kind of weird. It's like they had their gang signs all over our, stop signs, and I guess the only thing that comes to mind is like, why did you not show up to the horrible, and I don't know which parish he's in, but I feel like I can say this confidently because we don't see DAs come up out of retirement to talk on behalf of the chomos and of those type of monsters. Like there, it doesn't matter. But here, where it was someone who 25 years ago was spray painting your stop signs, and I know I'm being facetious. I get it. I get that he was probably destroying communities and doing all that gang stuff. And obviously, it's he needs to be locked up. But why a 330-year sentence? I don't know. I'm just it's and then you show up out of retirement to keep him in prison. It's just it's like certain cases these DAs love to make part of their career, and the other cases like Chomos, they couldn't even care. They couldn't even care less. I'm not saying he's like that. It could be he is, but just in general. Anyways, all right, I got that stuff off my chest. Let's jump into this brain wreck of a 2025 parole hearing. Really is wild. Let's go.
More to have 399-339.
Didn't have to work too hard on that. It's only two numbers, right? Okay, it appears by your offender record, you're a first-class offender serving a 330-year sentence for attempted first-degree murder, distribution of cocaine, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, distribution of cocaine, and 5 counts of criminal gang activity. And I believe you were perhaps on supervision when those were committed. You had a parole eligibility date of 8/1/2021, adjusted good time date of 6/29/2064, and a full term date of 10/7/2326. Does that sound correct according to what you understand?
Yes, ma'am. But I wasn't like off on a parole or anything when that was committed.
Okay. You just had some other aggravated battery and aggravated escape too.
That happened in while I was already incarcerated.
Oh, okay. That's part. Okay. So why don't you go ahead and tell us why you're currently incarcerated and why do you think we should give you early parole today?
My original charge is the gang related charge, and I was young and I made some foolish decisions, and the night that it happened, some guys basically that shot at me, and then I laid there and told some other guys to go and to retaliate, and they took it upon themselves. When they got there, the guys wasn't there. They started shooting and 2 innocent girls got hit. And thank God that nobody got killed. And so, if I would have never made the decision to send those guys, over there, that would have never happened. Those girls would have never been harmed. So I take full responsibility for it. You know, it was all on me. You know, I apologize and, you know, for my actions. You know, I asked God and, you know, and the girls basically forgive me for my actions and stuff like that. And I laid down while I was incarcerated. In the parish, the escape had took place, and in the process of the escape, you know what I'm saying? One of the guys, you know, basically hit one of the guards with a pipe and kicked the guard while I was out of the room looking for the key. And so I took full responsibility because, you know, it was basically my idea to escape. So, you know, I would have never laid that, come up with the idea to escape, you know, those deputies would have never been in that position. And so it all fell on me. And I've been, you know, doing everything that I possibly can to, you know, better myself and try to do what I can for it, like rehabilitate myself. I laid out, taken a lot of classes. I went even above and beyond to lay there, and they had this program called H2O, and it's a rehabilitation program. So I enrolled into that, and, you know, and they had this guy named Casey, you know, he sponsored my scholarship, you know, and I was really appreciative for Casey because I was able to take that program and I was able to graduate, you know, which has like a 20-course rehabilitation program. And because I finished the program, I was able to get a certificate from the University of Utah State and certified in leadership and management. And I take that very serious because I'm the first one in my family to obtain anything from a college. So that was really big for me. And you know, and the decisions that I made when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, most people say, well, you know, the environment you was raised in, but I don't see it like that because we make choices and there's people that come from that same environment that makes different choices. And so I take full responsibility for my action. And I you know, at that time when I was young, I had a drinking problem. And so when I drank, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I be like a different person. And so staying sober, you know, it is a big thing for me. And you know, I'll do whatever I can, you know, to help the community and give back, you know, to the community basically to try to, you know, help these kids out there that's, you know, the struggle kids to not come to places like this. And not only did my actions harm the victims, but it harmed my own family. And you know, I was, you know, being gone so long, you know, I wasn't out there to really raise my own children. And, you know, I have a son, and you know, I try to talk to him, try to tell him, you know, straighten up and everything. And because of me not being there for him, you know, he's now incarcerated, you know, and you know, I feel like all this is really my fault, but I've done as much as I can to like rehabilitate myself with the programs that I've taken, and try to mend the fences with the community. It's like, and I pray that God lay that, you know, can forgive me for my sins, and that the people that I harm can forgive me for my sins. I was a young man, I made some bad decisions. You know, I'm 51 years old now.
Yeah, I do see the pictures of the stuff your family's been doing. Warden, what kind of statement would you like to make at this time?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we received them here in October 2019. Last disciplinary report was June of 2020. I don't see where he's ever enrolled in any GED classes, and he has not completed victims impact.
Warren, I got a question. Since the last hearing that he had on November 14th of 2022, Do you have any records of him completing any more classes after that hearing?
Last thing I have here is, we have Thinking for a Change in 2021, Anger Management 2021, Living in Balance Phase 1, 2022, Living in Balance Phase 2, 2022. That's March 30th, 2022. Last
So
year.
nothing, no more classes since the last hearing, none.
March 30th.
Have you done any more classes since that last hearing?
Yes, sir. Those are the classes that I was speaking about. When I got the Tiger risk score, assessment score, I talked to the mental health lady and I gave her all the certificates and stuff that I had gained since then. And so she had took them and she said that, you know, she had talked to somebody to try to, you know, get them put in my jacket. And so she said that the person that she was talking to, she was having trouble. One person was saying send it to DOC. So she told me it's best just to forward it to the parole board, said that the parole board could see everything. So that's what we did. We just forward everything to the parole board for all the classes that I took since then.
What are the classes that you took?
This Hustle 2 program, which is like a 20-step rehabilitation courses. They should have the certificate from Utah State University. And all the college, the Bible courses and everything that I took, they should also have we sent all that to the parole board.
So
You keep going around in the circle. What are the actual classes you took? How many are they and what are their names?
they're not DOC.
They're not DOC
It's not a
class.
DOC class, it's through
took-
Utah.
Yeah.
It's like. He's speaking of this hustle guide, H2O, that's not something that we have here.
Okay, so it's not DOC approved classes, it's just that.
Somebody to,
Right.
right. So
All right.
it's like
That ain't-
nationally known.
We have some people today wishing to speak in support. The two that are not speaking that are in support there, Shirley Williams, your mother, and Michael Williams, your stepfather. But you have Kimberly Lestrap's friend, Tamika Johnson's sister, and Mr. Harrell, your attorney, will let you wrap up after the other two speak, if you don't mind. So Miss Kimberly Lestrap's, if you would like to speak first.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Kimberly Lestrapes, and I would like to thank the parole board for allowing me to speak on Martin's behalf. I've known Martin for about 75% of my life. I know the board have reviewed his files, outlining his past and his current actions. We don't deny what he has done. In fact, he is the first person to acknowledge them. I would like to emphasize that the man before the board today is fundamentally different from the young adult who has made the poor choices of his past. Martin has always been a source of support and light for our family, friends, and neighbors, all while he's been incarcerated. He has worked so hard to rehabilitate himself, make a difference in his behavior, and turn away from the wicked things he used to do that would get him in trouble. He works just as hard to live and understand and make amends to the community that he once lived in. I know this firsthand. He gives back actively through his mentor program, his blood drives, his feeding the homeless, providing care packages and food donations to the living facilities and nursing homes, all orchestrated by himself. He does this because in his mind, it gives him mentally changing. It feeds his soul to hear how gratefully the people are that do receive from an incarcerated individual. It's only going to get bigger and better. At one point in my life as an adult, I was on alcohol real bad. I never acknowledged it. Martin called it alcoholism. I called it a little drink here and there, just multiple times a day. I guess I was in denial. Through what he experienced and what he learned, he passed it on to me. Long story short, I've been sober for over 5 years and I'll never look back. Martin is indeed a very unique person who would give his last to make sure you had, even if he didn't. He has taken this period of time of his life and transformed it into a commitment to integrity and self-improvement. He's dedicated to earning the community's respect. Upon his release, if approved with God and his family, Martin intends to bring this commitment home. And he has a plan. If God allows him to, granting him parole, it's not just giving him a chance. It's strengthening our community with a man who deserves to do good. For our family, it feels a tremendous hole. We are ready to support him like we have been. We pray that the parole board give him a chance to show the man that he has become. I do want to thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you very much. Ms. Johnson, Tamika Johnson, your sister, would like to speak?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tamika Chantel Tejada Johnson. I am Martin Tejada's baby sister. It's been a long journey without him being home. I'm here today to share my thoughts and my feelings on why my brother should have a fair chance at coming home. He has been fully rehabilitated and a totally changed man. I'll start off by sharing a little about our relationship. When I was younger, he was the best big brother a sister could have. He took care of us while my mother worked 2 jobs at times, making sure we went to school, homework, and making sure we had a real meal on the table, even when I had to prepare it. He was very overprotective over us, especially me being a girl. He bought me my very first car. He adored his little sisters. We didn't grow up without a father figure, so he had no one to show or tell him right from wrong. We did go to church every Sunday as a family. Martin was so good with the Bible and having leadership, so he was called to be a minister or pastor to spread God's word. But things took a turn in the way the church was set up. Even if he was caught doing anything like as much as wearing short sleeves, you would get put out of church, and he did. We all did at some point. And one thing led to the next. I want to also apologize for each and every person who was affected in any kind of way from or due to his actions, because again, he was very young, and at the time he didn't realize that it would have cost him so much time away from his family. But since he's been incarcerated, he has changed and is truly rehabilitated. Everything he wants to do now is all about giving back and helping the community and living out the rest of his days with his family. He has since sponsored rallies, speaking and reaching out to kids everywhere, letting them know how he gets in this place and what not to do to come to prison. He has gathered crowds in our community. Even our chief of police, Greg LeBlanc, has spoke at a few rallies on behalf of Martin and the community. I feel he has served enough time for the crimes that were committed, and he is fully rehabilitated to come home and start a new life afresh and on the right track. My mother also needs him home. She has cried and prayed for years, and every day of our lives, we pray that he would get a chance at freedom to come home and be in our arms again. Mom has had so many battles with illnesses, every different kind of cancer, even different kinds of cancers battle. She has been fighting and hold on to see the day when her son is released. Again, I stand with him in sorrowful apology for everyone that was hurt and affected by the things that he got himself involved in. But I pray and wish today that you all of the panel and board will find it in your hearts to grant not only my brother, but my mother and my entire family our wish and let him come home to us. It will be a pleasure for him to see my kids and his own kids and grandkids. He is rehabilitated and ready to come home and make an honest living with an honest job and making a living for himself and family. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to the panel and pray our request be granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. We have Justin Harrell, an attorney. And sir, if you'd like to speak at this time.
I would indeed. Good morning, and thank you all for taking the time to listen to me and to Martin and his family. I believe his record speaks for itself in terms of his achievements and the work that he has put forward since he's been incarcerated. I do want to make a couple of observations. This is not my first time before this board. And in all the years that I've done this, it has always occurred to me that one of the biggest impediments that a defendant faces they come before the panel seeking release is that they're asking you to speculate as to what type of person they will be if they are released into the community and into the public. And often the only thing that they have to show for themselves is the achievements they've done while they have been incarcerated. For most of these people, if not all, the last time they were free men or free women, they made poor choices that led them to be put in this position. So the only thing that they have in their favor to show this board is their accomplishments in prison. And that's not to denigrate or diminish those accomplishments. Those are great and significant, but they're done in a structured way in an unstructured environment. And this panel has the responsibility of determining whether those things translate to a life out in the community. I think Martin is an exception to that rule. Martin has not only worked to achieve things within the prison walls, he's the first person in all of my years of experience that has shown work beyond the prison walls through community service that he channels and marshals and is actively engaged in. Martin is engaged with members of the community far beyond Hunt and St. Gabriel, back in his home of Opelousas, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's the ministry or the church or other community leaders. Martin works with them to produce these and engage in these rallies, food drives, blood drives, toy drives. Martin can't be out there in person, that's for certain, but these things are more than just done in his name. He is an active participant in this process. And I also think the effort and orchestration that goes into holding a rally with members of the community and law enforcement, that's the very type of organization that's going to help Martin succeed when he's released. He's not going out into an environment with nobody. He's not going out into an environment with a few family members that perhaps are too old now to assist him. He's got a vibrant, engaged, and interactive community that is willing to welcome him back, as I think we can see from all of the volunteerism that's done in his name and with his assistance. And even though Martin can't be present, Martin does speak to the community in the works that he's published. He is a published author, and I think that gives him an opportunity to try to steer people away from the path that he's taken. Even if he can't be present at these speeches and at these rallies, his voice can be present in the publications and the work that he's done. I've spoken to Martin many times, and I think when he starts to talk about his work and his mission and what he views as his purpose, he is a genuinely passionate person about it. So it is a wonder to hear him talk about what he wants to do to not only just be a member of society, but to actively work to prevent youth from following in his footsteps. He's surrendered and sacrificed and given up 30 years of his life for his crimes, which he takes full responsibility for. And I think he has a passion to make sure other young men and other young women don't fall in that position. And unlike other offenders, I think he has a demonstrated record that shows this panel what kind of person he'll be if released. An engaged, active community member with a passion and a zeal for helping younger people avoid his poor choices. So I think he would be an excellent candidate for release, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. We do have Miss Karen Angus, who is here on Zoom speaking in opposition to release. And if you would like to speak now, Ms. Angus.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Karen Angus, And I sat on Martin to have a parole hearing in 2022. I sat as his wife, but me and Martin was never legally married. And after hearing everybody speak on his behalf today about the changes that he made in his life, and he would be, you know, a good candidate for parole and everything, that's not what I experienced from him. Last year, I became a victim of Martin Tahada. Martin is a very abusive person, both mentally, physically, emotionally. I experienced that firsthand from visitations, how he would get really rude and evil and ugly. And before they put cameras in there, he would hit me. On phone calls, he would curse me out, and he would also threaten my life, what he would do if he was home, how he would, you know, harm me, bash my head into the wall, you know, play Russian roulette and different things with me. And I befriended him because I thought at one time he was a changed man, that he was reformed. But until I got deep in a situation, in a relationship with him, I realized he's not reformed. He's not ready to be set free, because several times he told me in conversations and stuff like that, whenever he's released, he's gonna come out and do the same thing. There's a couple of people that, you know, he's gonna kill because of money and stuff like that. And I realized that I put myself in a position with Martin Tahada that I shouldn't have never done. I shouldn't have never got involved with him. But as I moved away from him and released my relationship with him, that's when things really, really turned bad last year. He would have some of his friends call me and threaten me and saying that what he could have done while I'm asleep at home. And also right now as we speak, I got a case against him and his mother that's trying to steal property that I purchased. And, you know, it's just not a good situation with Martin. Martin is where he belongs for right now. He haven't changed, and he's not going to change. He told me that several times. He's not going to change for no one, not even God. And he showed me that many of times. So right now, I'm just
question. Where did you meet him? How long have you?
I knew Martin many years before, because I used to date his brother a long time ago. I did. And his brother is deceased now. And so when he came along, it was through one of his friends that came to my house and stuff like that and was talking to Martin. And I guess he wound up giving Martin my number. And I figured, you know, you've been incarcerated for so many years, and it's time for you to be released. But I was wrong about the whole situation. I was wrong about everything. I thought, you know, that he would change, and he never changed.
So you're not a victim of the crime that he committed to get him there?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to understand. Okay, I've got you now. We appreciate your comments.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You say this happened last year?
Last year, I called to Elaine Hunts, I made a complaint with one of the deputies. I don't exactly know his name. And also I went to my local sheriff office here in Opelousas, Louisiana, and made a statement against him. And, you know, letting him know if anything would happen to me, it would be Martin that had it done to me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to go ahead and ask Mr. Barbara if he will have any questions.
Mr. Todd, why were the girls shot originally? What was the issue y'all had with them?
Oh, well, what happened was their boyfriend was the one that had came shooting at me. So when the guys went over there looking for those guys, they wasn't there, and those girls, I guess when they started shooting, the girls were just out there, and that's how they accidentally got shot.
So they were just your boys were supposed to go shoot up the house, but the boys wasn't there, and only the girls were.
Well, they were supposed to look specifically for the guys that shot at us, but when they got there, they just started shooting. and 2 innocent girls got shot.
Okay. And does the Tejada gang still exist?
No, sir.
Any way, shape, any form of it? Nobody went, once you went to jail, thing fell apart?
No. I haven't seen, talk, visit with any of them since I've been in prison. I was like out of sight, out of mind to them. You know, all they cared about is when I was out, what I could do for them. That was it. Once I got incarcerated, I'm like a non-factor to them.
So they all straightened out, they didn't keep the gang going.
Yeah.
All right, and I see that you had a pending charge still of carnal knowledge of a juvenile pending. What about that? What's the details of, you know, about that?
Oh, well, they had thrown that charge out of there. What it was basically this lady that I was messing with at the time, and she had basically had her daughter was told me that her daughter basically was of age, and so when they found out what she had did, she ended up doing time for that because she had misled me, something like that at the time. It's like about 29 years ago, and so she ended up going through time for that.
And the charge against you gets dropped?
Right.
But it's no longer pending?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all the questions I
I have
had.
a question. Mr. Morton, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Morton, you say he has not given you any problems since he's been there?
Not since I've been here. I haven't had any issues with it.
Okay, Mr. Morton, you impressed me that you were pretty honest this morning. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay, tell me what this young lady that just testified against you, is that true what she said?
Not at all, sir. Can I show the warden something? What it was, me and this girl was dating. Now she used to date my brother. So we was dating, everything was good. And then another woman got involved. And when the other woman got involved and I chose to be with that woman, what she did was decided that some property that we own, she forged my name on some documents as if I gave my 50% to it. That's what we basically in court for right now. And she even forged my name. The marriage that she's talking about, she forged my name on some documents in order to help us steal the property. And when the clerk court and everything, once I did the affidavit and got my one key. And I have affidavits from the guy that basically.
So in other words, y'all got personal issues over billing.
Exactly, and this a person committing fraud and using a notary to later get a marriage license, a fake marriage license, where she bought somebody there to pretend to be me, and the notary signed the license, and she went filed that license and took that license to another notary and got him to sign the notary as if I was there, my parents was there, my power of attorney was there, and signed my property, half of my property, over to her. And the court flipped it over to her because they thought that it was legit. But when they found out, so both of the notaries gave us affidavits that basically we're in court with right now to prove that she basically had stole the property and it's not going the way that she wanted to go. And so she basically made threats, if I don't let her keep my half of the property, that she's gonna do whatever it takes to mess up my parole. And it's sad because at one time I loved that woman and everything was good with us. But you know, time goes on, and when things separated between us, you know, she just decided to just do as anything she can to try to hurt me.
Okay, that's good. And what is it that he gave you?
Okay, this is, appears to be some type of affidavit. This is an affidavit. It was June 19, 2024. This is an affidavit that I, Russell Timmer, Notary Public, had a conversation with Martin Tejada on June 18, 2024. After conversation, I realized that the signature on a marriage license document on June 13, 2022 was not his signature. Tejada stated he has been in prison for the past 27 years. Karen Angus came into my office with identification of Martin Tejada and a male companion claiming to be Martin Tejada. After talking to Tejada, I realized the signature was a forgery and Martin Tejada did not sign it. The signature that I verified on June 13, 2022 was not of Martin Tejada, making the marriage license of Karen Angus invalid. This is an affidavit to clear up the signature on being forged on this marriage license, nor was it a power of attorney of Karen Angus on June 13, 2022. Thank you, Russell Timmer, Notary Public, number 39278, June 19, 2024, 8:00 p.m.
Okay, yeah, there's information and material, I think, to the actual parole consideration.
Got some questions.
So Mr. Freeman has some questions?
Okay, so you are a gang leader.
Yes, sir.
You planning on going back to that same area?
Well, I'll go wherever the parole board want me to go.
Yeah, because that ain't a good idea. Okay, what's all these number ones, Warden? I see about 12 number ones. Any of them drugs, alcohol, or weapons?
Last number one was in 2018. He received 6 weeks canteen.
What was it for though? Was it? You can tell me, Texas, any of them were for drugs, alcohol, or weapons?
Cell phones, both of them cell phones, the contraband charges, the Route ones.
Right, understand. There's no weapons or drugs involved. Okay, well, let me ask you something while they're looking for that. What about this murder charge back that you went to a jury trial on? What did they accuse you of doing there?
Well, they accused me of killing the guy, but you talking about not these charges there, right?
No, sir. Back in 1992.
Right. And so what it was an accidental shooting, and we was out there, and the guy was my friend, and they was running around playing with a gun, and so this guy, he's a younger kid, so he grabbed the gun, and when I grabbed the gun from him, to take the gun from him, my partner accidentally hit the barrel and shot him. And so I went to trial on it, you know what I'm saying, and I was found not guilty because, you know, they realized that I was actually taking the gun from somebody else, but when I was taking it from him, the guy was in front of me and he hit the barrel. When he hit the barrel, it automatically went off.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just wondering.
Mr. Freeman, it looks like they're cell phone.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Okay, I have no further questions.
Mr. Childs, do you have any other questions?
No.
Mr. Prater, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, I don't have any questions.
Okay, I believe that we've heard from all parties and the panel is prepared to vote. Mr. Bob Ross?
Today, I'm going to vote to deny parole based on the law enforcement opposition, the numerous offenses, and opposition from law enforcement.
Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Morton, you convinced me that you have changed I see the remorsefulness in you, and my vote today is going to be to grant with conditions. Grant conditional.
Okay, Mr. Freeman,
My vote is to deny terrible criminal history and, not enough time served.
and Mr. Prater.
Concur, criminal history, opposition, not enough time served on his sentence and the type of crime they're accused of.
My vote is also to concur with Mr. Freeman. So on a 4-1 vote, you have not been granted parole today. I believe that concludes our business there tonight. It's 11.
Jonathan Rowe, they have one more. Jonathan Rowe.
One more, sorry.
Tillis. You know, Tillis, it's comical at this point, and it's crazy to see a circus of a hearing like this, but I just have to start with Tillis. I see you've changed. I'm going to grant. It's like, what? What are you saying, Tillis? You know, when he votes, it's not all the time, but it's a lot of the time where it is the exact opposite of what everyone else votes. And there's something, there's like, this is like, there's no way, that this man can be all the way cognitively there. There's just no way you can't. Like, there needs to be some type of rational reason. Because if he is all there, you just have to, like, how the governor handpicks the board. You know, when the new governor is elected by the people, the board that he picks, it's a representation of the state of Louisiana. It's an extension of the people. And what in God's earth made him say, Mr. Tillis, you are qualified for this job? We have looked at, I'm not going to go on. I just need to get this off my chest again, because, you know, there are so many qualified people. We've seen what a qualified board can look like. We've seen Mr. Noe Roche and Miss Bonnie Jackson and Judge Mirabella. We know. And then it's like, no. Let me put Tillis there. He's not really, he can't, he doesn't have, he has probably like the reading capabilities of like a third grader. He still doesn't understand the process, gets it wrong all the time. You know, those are like the basic things. Has difficulty just communicating. And then that's not even before we come into decision factors. I mean, where does he come up with these things? And how the governor handpicked him, I have no idea. If you're curious about Tillis's background, you know, at the beginning, it said he was Angola's preacher, right? And I thought, okay, so maybe he's been going in Angola for 25 years. He talks to inmates. He understands the manipulation and this and that, and he has insight. But I've never heard him ever mention that he's Angola's preacher. His other only experience is being like a real estate developer. And we've never seen anybody in Angola or any warden or anybody mention that. So I even wonder what that means when they say Angola's preacher. Did he show up once or twice over the past 20 years? And now he's Angola's preacher. I don't know. It makes zero sense. And clearly you can see he is not qualified for the position, and it's mud on the face in the state of Louisiana every time he gets up there. Now this hearing, holy cow. I mean, it's like when you find out that he had killed someone in a prior also, I didn't recall. Did they bring that up in the first hearing? It's possible I missed it. And what's crazy is when you're showing up for parole and it's like 3 life sentences in prison, you cannot have an ex-wife, or I think what they were saying, I think the argument is that land was bought, and because they were married when it was bought, I think both of them have ownership of it, and then there's like proof. No, we were never married, and who knows what's going on with that? It's hard to understand. Like, what are you doing buying land? when you're in prison anyway? I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who's, but that's not the point. The point is that, you know, you cannot you cannot be messing up so bad while in prison that you will to the point where you are already in like lawsuits over someone else, and you haven't even gotten out yet. If this is what you're going to manage to do and capable of in prison, who knows what chaos? I mean, it's just nuts. It's just totally nuts. And you have to be in your own self interest, right? In your own best interest, you have to make sure that you're squeaky clean, that you're not going to have someone show up to your parole hearing and say this man did all like. And I believe her. You can choose who you want to believe. I'm going to believe the non-felon. I'm going to believe, I was thinking about this, but to actually have a Karen show up to your parole hearing. He had the literal Karen show up. I'm joking. I'm saying this out of respect. It's just, it's funny. We have to find some humor in it. But no, she stood up. She's admitted the mistakes of dating him, and for whatever, I can't understand why this ever happens, why women want to date someone who's locked up in prison. Like the only reason I can understand it is if they hope they stay locked up, and they just like that type of relationship. They like keeping the man at a distance. The man's good at writing letters, all the attention on you. It's, okay, fine, you want to have a relationship like that. But whenever they're asking them to get out of prison, it's like, well, I don't know why you want that. That's just insane. But okay, I digress. Anyways, she, she wasn't gonna be a pushover, and she's came up here and said, you know what? He, and that's the thing. Like, okay, so let's say they're in a property dispute, and she's upset about that. Then you could say, oh, I'm gonna get you bad. I'm gonna come up here and say you did all these things to me. But no, I have to believe her. But it shows us something again. It shows that where it is pretty crazy. If it's true, which I think, which again I said I'm gonna believe it's true. This man is so dangerous. And the parole board, they had to in there, so they said, like, this isn't even relevant to the case. Like, but it's too late. Once it's open, it's out there, and the parole board, like, if there was any chance they were gonna parole him, it's gone. Like, you just can't in good conscience say, I'm just gonna throw all that out. The idea that he was being physically abusive to you while locked up in visitation when there weren't cameras installed. Yeah, unbelievable. And it's like when you think you've seen it all, this was a first, right? I don't think we've ever seen. I've always wondered, we have seen where those come in for support and they'll say, oh, I love him and blah, blah, blah. And then like 2 years later, they're just nowhere to be seen. We've seen that. But for someone to actually show up and drop a mic on his parole hearing, oh my gosh. And you can't feel bad for him. It's like he needs to do what he needs to do. It's not like this was a blindsided. He knew she was going to show up, would be my guess. I actually wonder. Now I actually wonder, did he know she was gonna show up? Because why how could she show up? Actually, on second thought, she's not a victim of the original case. See, when you're coming in support, you can show up, you go and you say, I'm here in support. How do you get invited on the call if you're not showing up? Actually, that is a legitimate question. Now I'm very curious. I wonder if that was a mistake. I can't imagine she can show up and say, I'm a victim of him. We were dating. I want to now talk in opposition of his parole hearing when it has nothing to do with the case at hand. How did that happen? I mean, how do you even get on the call unless she got on the call and said, I'm here. Hey, I was there last time. I'm here. Or maybe like someone just reached out to her and said, oh, you were here last time. Do you want to show up again? And she's like, yeah, because I don't know how else that happened. Pretty wild. Pretty wild stuff. It's interesting. In the first hearing, here's what I think the most fascinating. In the first hearing, I was more like, let the man out. It's been a bajillion years. Um, he served a lot of time. He didn't pull the trigger. He didn't kill anyone. No one died. No one here is in opposition except for the DA. If there's anyone that should get, he served so much time, let him out. That's really actually was my instinct. And then you come in 2 years later, and it's like the curtains have lifted, and you see someone that had they gotten out, we'd probably be seeing the revocation hearing within a few months, which are so many like that are coming in now. Isn't that wild? Um, that's just my thoughts. You tell me yours in the comment section. I read most of them, and it really does help the channel, and it always creates interesting dialogue, as Carol do and Dr. Grande say. And with that, I'll let you go.
And I sat on Martin to had a parole hearing in 2022. I sat as his wife, but me and Martin was never legally married. And after hearing everybody speak on his behalf today about the changes that he made in his life, and he would be, a good candidate for parole and everything, that's not what I experienced from him. Last year, I became a victim of Martin Tahada. Martin is a very abusive person, both mentally, physically, emotionally. I experienced that firsthand from visitations, how he would get really rude and evil and ugly. And before they put cameras in there, he would hit me.